Kunja Bihare. Jai Shri Shri Radha Madhava Sakya Vrinda Giriraj Govardhan Ki Jai, Shri Gauranga Mahaprabhu Ki Jai, Shri Shri Panchatattva Ki Jai, Shri Shri Prahlad Nrsingadev Ki Jai, Grantarat Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai, Divine Grace Bhakti Vedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai, ISKCON Bhartmana Guru Vrinda Ki Jai, Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. Om Agyantimirandasya Gyanandana Shalakaya Chakshuranmeritam Yana Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Svayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Manchakalpatarubhyascha Kripasindhuvevacha Patitanam Pavanepyo Vaishnavepyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. V'day Mahat Prema Puro Vibhur Nirmaya Kshati Yadamusha Purusha Bhakti Ganan Sadasa Sadasatmakailang Trishishta Bhagavan Vacham Sime. So, today with the blessings of all the present Vaishnavas, we continue reading the 9th canto, 9th chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam, the dynasty of Amshuman, starting from text 9 and going to text 12 with the purport, which is on board, which we'll chant responsively. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Tattheti Rakyabhitam Sarvalokahita Shiva Dadhara Vahito Gangam Padaputa Jalam Harehe. When King Bhagirath approached Lord Shiva and requested him to sustain the forceful waters of the Ganges, Lord Shiva accepted the proposal by saying, "Let it be so." Then with great attention he sustained the Ganges on his head, for the water of the Ganges is purifying, having emanated from the toes of Lord Vishnu. Bhagirata cha rajarshirninye bhuvana pavanim yatrasva pitrinam deha basmi bhuta sma sharate. The great and saintly king Bhagirath brought the Ganges, which can deliver all the fallen souls, to that place on earth where the bodies of his forefathers lay burnt to ashes. Ratena vayu vegina prayantam anudhavati deshan punanti nirdagdhan asinchat Sagaratmajan. Bhagirath mounted the swift chariot and drove before Mother Ganges, who followed him, purifying many countries, until they reached the ashes of Bhagirath's forefathers, the sons of Sagara, who were thus sprinkled with water from the Ganges. And so text 12, please chant responsively. Yajjala sparsha matrena Yajjala sparsha matrena Brahmadanda hatapi Brahmananda hata api Sagaratmaja divam jagmu Sagaratmaja divam jagmu Kevalam deha basmabi Kevalam deha basmabi Yajjala sparsamatrena Brahmadanda hata api Sagaratmaja divam jagmu Kevalam deha basmabihi. Please. Yajjala sparsha matrena Brahmadanda hata api Sagaratmaja divam jagmu Basmabi Yajjala sparshamatrena Ladies, please. Matrena Madanda hatapi Sagaratmaja divam jagmu Vasmabihi. Synonyms, please repeat. Yad jala, whose water? Sparshamatrena, simply by touching. Brahmadanda hataha, those who were condemned for offending Brahma, the self. Api, although. Sagara Atmaja, the sons of Sagara, Divam, to the heavenly planets, Jagmuhu, went, Kevalam, only, Dehabhasmabi, by the remaining ashes of their burnt bodies. Translation purported by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Because the sons of Sagar Maharaj had offended a great personality, the heat of their bodies had increased and they were burnt to ashes. But simply by being sprinkled with water from the Ganges, all of them became eligible to go to the heavenly planets. What then is to be said of those who use the water of Mother Ganges to worship her? Purport. Mother Ganges is worshipped by the water of the Ganges. A devotee takes little water from the Ganges and offers it back to the Ganges. When the devotee takes the water, Mother Ganges does not lose anything. And when the water is offered back, Mother Ganges does not increase. But in this way, the worshipper of the Ganges is benefited. Similarly, a devotee of the Lord offers the Lord patram pushpam palam toyam, a leaf, flower, fruit, or water, in great devotion. But everything, including the leaf, flower, fruit, and water, belongs to the Lord, and therefore there is nothing to renounce or to accept. One must simply take advantage of the bhakti process, because by following this process one does not lose anything, but one gains the favor of the Supreme Person. Hare Krishna. So this is a very interesting part of Srimad Bhagavatam, where in the story of Ganga Mai appearing on earth is described, and it all started with the sons of Sagar Maharaj offending Kapila by thinking he was the thief because the sacrificial horse was tied to his ashram. So they assumed he was the culprit. So this is a very important lesson of the dangers of the assumptions. So they suffered because of their wrong assumption, and they wanted to harm Kapila Dev, but instead they harmed themselves, and they were burnt to ashes. And then to liberate them, the descendant Bhagirath Maharaj found out that the only way they can become liberated and purified of their sin of offending Kapila Dev was to bring Ganga Mai to this planet. And this is what he did, and we read this description in here, that Bhagirath found that Ganga is so powerful that if it will descend on earth, it will just break through the earth and go down to the lower planetary systems. And so he needed something to soften the blow. And the only person who could do that was Shankar, Mahadev, Lord Shiva. And Lord Shiva was very happy to take up the task. So this is what text 9 is describing. When King Bhagirath approached Lord Shiva and requested him to sustain the forceful waves of the Ganges, Lord Shiva accepted the proposal by saying, "Let it be so." Then with great attention he sustained the Ganges on his head, for the water of the Ganges is purifying, having emanated from the toes of Lord Vishnu. Of course, Lord Shiva, being Vaishnava Namata Shambhu, the best of the Vaishnavas, was thinking, oh my God, it's great, so much Charanamrita on my head. And I don't even have to go anywhere, I just have to sit there and wait for it to come down. And so, as we know, he got so excited that he took it all on his head, and Ganga became lost in his matted locks. So that's the enthusiasm of the devotee in getting Charanamrita. Of course, we cannot imitate this example because Lord Shiva is practically not different from the Supreme Lord. Yatha dati vikara vishesha yogat. That the difference between Lord Shiva and the Supreme Lord is that they are the same, but they have different functions in the same way as milk and yogurt are the same substance, but have different functions. And so next text is describing that the great and saintly King Bhagirath brought the Ganges, which can deliver all the fallen souls, to that place on earth where the bodies of the forefathers lay burnt to ashes. So that's the nature of the Vaishnava. He is not only thinking of his own benefit, but he is thinking of other suffering souls, and so he made so much effort just to benefit his forefathers who committed this offense. Bhagirath mounted a swift chariot and drove before Mother Ganges, who followed him, purifying many countries until they reached the ashes of Bhagirath's forefathers, the sons of Sagar, who were thus sprinkled with water from the Ganges. Because the sons of Sagar Maharaj had offended the great personality, the heat of their bodies had increased and they were burnt to ashes. But simply by being sprinkled with water from the Ganges, all of them became eligible to go to the heavenly planets. What then is to be said of those who use the water of Mother Ganges to worship her? So, these descriptions have so many valuable and very practical lessons for all of us. And first of all, when we offend others or we become angry at others, actually anger is harming us. Even medically it is concluded that anger is increasing the blood pressure and does so much harm to the body. And that's why Bhagavad Gita says that there are 3 gateways leading to hell: lust, anger, and greed. And every sane person has to give them up. And so, anger is always harmful to the one who is angry, and of course harmful to those upon whom anger is directed. And if you've noticed, anger is increasing the bodily temperature. I'm sure most of you had that experience. And so the greater the personality towards whom we become angry, the greater the bodily temperature increases. The more the bodily temperature increases. And so apparently, because Kapila Dev is the greatest of all the personalities, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, because they became angry with Kapila Dev, the temperature of their bodies increased so much that they got burnt to ashes. So, harmed themselves to the maximum extent. So, that's the lesson for us in self-control, that there is no use of being angry, because it's something which only harms us. Of course, Srila Prabhupada and previous acharyas are also mentioning that anger can be used for Krishna conscious purposes. Krodha bhakta dveshi gane, as Narottam Das Thakur says in his Prema, Sri Prem Bhakti Chandrika, that spiritual use of the anger is to direct them against those who hate Vaishnavas. So, and Prabhupada gives examples of Hanuman, who became so angry that he burnt Lanka, and Arjuna, who, as Prabhupada says, without anger you cannot fight, so he became angry and he fought very successfully. But it's important in this explanation to understand that you can use anger in the service of the Lord if you are on the level of Hanuman and Arjuna. Okay? This is first and foremost point to consider, right? And before using anger for the service of the Lord, one has to become free from anger personally. That's the second point to consider. Because you cannot use something if you are used by that thing, right? That the modes of nature in Sanskrit are called gunas. So anger is the product of the mode of passion. So Rajaguna. And if we are used, and another meaning of the mode is rope, right? Of the guna. Translation of the word guna is rope. And so you can imagine if you are bound by the rope, rope can be used very nicely for so many things. For example, you can put a laundry line with a rope, right? And use it very nicely and for so many other purposes ropes are used. But if you are used by the rope, if you are bound by the rope, hand and feet, can you use that rope? No way. So that's really important. To become free from the rope, then you can use the rope properly. So if we are controlled by the anger, there is no way we can use anger in the service of the Lord. Because real spiritual anger is non different from love. So, and Prabhupada was saying that we can understand love, the closest example of divine love in the material world is relationship between mother and the child. And mother loves the child naturally because child is the part of mother's body. And so naturally we're all attached to our bodies. And so therefore mothers are attached to their children. You know, they consider their children to be non-different from them because biologically it is so. And therefore they look after their children, they serve their children just as they look after themselves. So it's not perfect analogy, but this is the closest analogy Prabhupada said to the divine love, because mother serving the child and loving the child is practically selfless, doesn't have ulterior motives. And so using that analogy, we can also know that mother can become angry with the child. And you can imagine this scenario that a small child, just a toddler, situated in one end of the room, comes close to the dining table and starts pulling tablecloth, and there is a pot or kettle with boiling water on the table, hot water on the table, and mother realizes one more second and the child will put the tablecloth with the kettle upon himself or herself and will, burn himself with the water. And mother realizes that she doesn't have enough time to run and stop the child physically. So there are many mothers in here. So what would you do in this scenario when you don't have time to run and stop the child physically? Scream, shout, right? At the top of your lungs, just to scare the child off the tablecloth, right? So it seems to be an anger, but this anger is purely meant to benefit the child. So we can understand by this analogy how the anger can be used for love in the service of the Supreme Lord. And so unless and until we have that love, the use of the anger will just harm us physically and mentally. And so, apparently those sons of Sagar, even though they were doing the service, and it is important, they were devotees, and they were trying to facilitate their father in his devotional service because he was doing yagya, and yagya is part of the process of serving the Supreme Lord. So they were assisting his father in devotional service, and they were devotees. But because they didn't use the anger properly, because they were not qualified, that anger burned them to ashes. So that's really important point for us to learn from Bhagavatam. And then Bhagirath Maharaj, being very compassionate towards them, he brought the Ganges, waters of the Ganges, on their ashes, and this is how they became liberated. And Srila Prabhupada explains that Ganga Mai is so merciful towards all of those living in this world, and especially on this planet. And because Lord Shiva is also described in these verses, as well as Ganga Mai, I was thinking we could read the most famous glorification of the Ganga by none other but Adi Shankaracharya, who is self-same Shankar Bhagavan, Lord Shiva, who came with very special mission. And even though Mayavadis claim to be his followers of Adi Shankaracharya, but as Bhaktivinoda Thakur very nicely describes in his Jaiva Dharma, and also Prabhupada mentioned that they completely misconstrued and distorted the teachings of Adi Shankara for their, selfish motives. But if we come in touch with the original works of Adi Shankaracharya, especially these kind of works glorifying Mother Ganga, Bhagavad Gita, process of devotional service, we can really understand and appreciate his position, how great devotee he is. And so this Ganga Stotram is quite long. It has 14 verses, and I won't bother you with reading the Sanskrit. After all the years of my practice of Krishna consciousness, I came to a conclusion that my Sanskrit is not too bad, because it's plainly horrible. And anyway, just to give you an idea, we'll read a couple of verses and then we'll read the translation. Devi Sureshwari Bhagavati Gange Tribhuvana Tarini Tarala Tarange Shankaramali Viharini Vimale Mama Matir Astam Tavapada Male Bhagirati Sukha Daini Matas Tava Jala Mahima Nigame Khyata Naham Janatava Mahimanam Pahi Kripamai Mamagyanam Haripada Padaya Tarangeni Gange Hima Vidhu Mukta Dhavala Tarange Durikuru Mama Duskriti Bharam Kuru Kripaya Bhava Sagara Param. So this is the translation. Glorification of Ganga Mai. O Goddess Ganga, you are the divine river from heaven. You are the savior of all the three worlds. You are pure and restless. You adorn, Lord Shiva said. O Mother, may my mind always rest at your lotus feet. O Mother Bhagirati, you give happiness to everyone. The significance of your holy waters is sung in the Vedas. I am ignorant and I am not capable to comprehend your importance. O Devi, you are full of mercy. Please protect me. O Devi, your waters are as sacred as Charanamriti of Sri Hari. Your waves are white like snow, moon and pearls. Please wash away all my sins and help me cross the ocean of samsara. O Mother, those who partake of your pure waters definitely attain the highest state. O Mother Ganga, Yama, the Lord of Death, cannot harm your devotees. O Jahnavi, your waters flowing through the Himalayas make you even more beautiful. You are Bhishma's mother and sage Janu's daughter. You are savior of the people fallen from their path, and so you are revered in all three worlds. We know that the ashram of Janu Muni is also in here, nearby. Right? So we're very lucky to be in such an important place as Navadvip. O Mother, you fulfill all the desires of the ones devoted to you. Those who bow down to you do not have to grieve. O Ganga, you are restless to merge with the ocean, just like a young lady anxious to meet her beloved. So immediately one verse comes to mind from the prayers of Queen Kunti. Tvai menanna vishaya matir matu patasakrit. What's the name? Gange Otham Udanvati, that Ratimudvahata Dadha Gange Odam Udanvati. Queen Kunti says, O my Lord, the Madhupati, please let my attraction be only towards you without being deviated to anything else. Let my attention flow constantly towards you. Such a great prayer for japa, right? When you get deviated by some other thoughts, you just remember this prayer of Queen Kunti. In the same way as Ganga constantly flows towards the sea, so let my attention constantly flow towards your lotus feet, O my Lord, right? Without getting deviated, without getting distracted. And Ganga is an amazing example of determination and humility. That it's been universal analysis that if you want to be successful, especially spiritually successful, you have to combine these two qualities. You have to be determined, Dridhavrata, and at the same time you have to be humble. And so Ganga is the best example of determination in humility. Because Ganga is also meeting a lot of obstacles on the way. But what the Ganga does it break through the obstacles? No. It just goes around the obstacles and continues to flow in exactly same direction. So this is soft, determined approach. And Ganga is the best example of that. Because we can see that those devotees who try to break through the obstacles, oftentimes they just break their heads against the obstacles, right? But those who are a little bit smarter, they just go around and continue their journey. They can remain happy in Krishna consciousness regardless of the obstacles. So Adi Shankaracharya continues, O mother, those who bathe in your waters do not have to take birth again. O Janavi, you are held to the highest esteem. You destroy your devotees' sins and save them from hell. O Janavi, you are full of compassion. You purify your devotees with your holy waters. Your feet are adorned with the gems of Indra's crown. Those who seek refuge in you are blessed with happiness. So you want to be happy? Just take bath in Ganga. Simple formula. It's our money-back guarantee. O Bhagavati, take away my disease, sorrows, difficulties, sins, and wrong attitudes. You are the essence of the three worlds, and you are like a necklace around the earth. O Devi, you alone are my refuge in this samsara. O Ganga, those who seek happiness worship you. You are the source of happiness for Alkapuri and source of eternal bliss. Those who reside on your banks are as privileged as those living in Vaikuntha. O Devi, it is better to live in your waters as turtle or fish, or live on your banks as poor Chandal, rather than to live away from you as a wealthy king. O Goddess of universe, you purify us. O daughter of Muni Janu, one who recites this Ganga Stotram every day definitely achieves success. Those who have devotion for Mother Ganga always get happiness and they attain liberation. This beautiful and lyrical Ganga Stuti is the source of supreme bliss. This Ganga Stotram, written by Sri Adi Shankaracharya, devotee of Lord Shiva, purifies us and fulfills all our desires. Gangamai Ki Jai. So, Ganga gives happiness, liberation, advancement, all kinds of benefits all over. But Ganga in Navadvip and Mayapur has even greater advantages, because it's not only giving liberation, it's not only helping one to ascend to higher planets. If you bathe in the waters of Ganga here, you go directly to the spiritual world, to Galoka Vrindavan. And not only you become free from all sins, but by bathing and drinking the water of the Ganga, you can get pure Krishna Prema. And so this is the great advantage, that you not only have Ganga Devi, but you have the place where Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is self-same Krishna, revealed his pastimes in Ganga, and just meditation on these pastimes is so beneficial. How Nimai Pandit was joking with the caste brahmanas here. They were with a very serious look on their face, chanting their Gayatri in the water, and Nimai would swim under the water and grab them by the leg. And crocodiles are actually living in Ganga. Somehow, around these times, there are no crocodiles in this area, luckily, so we can swim safely. But actually, if you go down the stream, you'll see the crocodiles in Ganga also. That when we went to one of the safaris with Srila Jayapataka Maharaj, we came across that place where there are plenty of crocodiles in Ganga. And so apparently in those days, crocodiles were also going up the stream all the way to here. And like it's described how Nityananda Prabhu was playing with crocodiles in Ganga. And Ganga that's Ganga's personal Vahan, right? She's riding on a makar, crocodile. And so you can imagine, like you chanting your Gayatri and something grabs you under the water. So these brahmanas were like forgetting about all their Gayatris, were panicking, and then Nimai Pandit would pop out of the water. Haribol! Ah! And he would, they would like bathe, clean, and then Nimai Pandit would put full mouthful of water of the Ganges and come out on the bank and spray them with the water from his own mouth. And they would try to worship on the banks of the Ganga, and Nimai Pandit would sit on the altar and eat all the offerings, and he would drive all these brahmanas crazy, and they would run to complain to Jagannath Mishra, but then Nimai Pandit would play such a trick as if he never went to the Ganga. And so a lot of sweet pastimes took place in here on the banks of Jahnavi or Ganga. And that's why this part of Ganga is imbued with Krishna Prema and Gaura Prema. So we are very fortunate to have this opportunity here to be purified by the Ganga. And how do we reciprocate with the Ganga for all the mercy? So Prabhupada describes it's very simple. Just offer the water of the Ganga to the Ganga. Just take a few palmfuls and offer it back to the Ganga. And Ganga is not benefited by that, of course, because it's her own waters. But if we do it with devotion, then we become purified and we become benefited. And Srila Prabhupada says, in the same way, serving the Supreme Lord, we're just offering Him what He gave us already. And so Supreme Lord is not benefited by our service, but we are benefited. And the only condition, as Prabhupada mentions, Patram Pushpam Palam Toyam Yame Bhaktya Prayachati Tadaham Bhakti Upahritam Ashnami Prayatatmana, that Krishna says, if someone offers me with love a leaf, a fruit, water or flower, I will accept them, provided the offering is done with love. So the same word bhakti, devotion or love, is mentioned twice in one sentence, in one verse. So Krishna is highlighting the importance of bhakti and not just a ritual. That for the ritual to become spiritual, there has to be devotion. Otherwise, ritual just remains a ritual and does not become spiritual and does not give us spiritual benefit, right? And so, but I'm sure that few of you might be on board with me that what do? I don't have any love. So, and how can I give something I don't have? So, what to do? Okay, we may not have love, but we can start at least with something. And the beginning of love is gratitude. And if we think about it, we can find a lot of reasons to be grateful to the Supreme Lord, to the spiritual master, to the Vaishnavas, including Gangamai, the greatest Vaishnavi. And if we serve not because we want to get something for ourselves, but because we feel grateful for whatever we already gotten, and we've got a lot. How many of you can say that since you've started chanting Hare Krishna, you've got a lot of benefits? More than one. Anyone got more than one benefit? Okay. Some of you are not raising your hands, so apparently you're still waiting for the benefits to come. But mostly you're recognizing that you're getting benefits. And so how do you express your gratitude for all the benefits? Simple. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Ask the Lord for the opportunity to do something for Him, to render some service, right? This is the meaning of the Maha Mantra, as Prabhupada explains, that, my dear Lord, please engage me in your loving devotional service. And definitely, if you are sincerely chanting, Krishna will give you plenty of opportunities for service. And those service opportunities will definitely benefit not only yourself, but other people as well. And so this is very simple process of devotional service. An important thing, as Prabhupada mentions here, is to recognize that the service is not for Krishna's benefit, and not even for other people's benefit. Who is benefiting? It's me. I am the beneficiary. And so, if you serve out of gratitude and you realize how much you're benefiting in this process, you will never worry about hankering for anything. And you can always be happy in Krishna consciousness, which is really important. That only if we are happy in Krishna consciousness, we can continue the process. And it's very simple. For me, this is one of the most favorite parts of the morning program, when you sit with Vaishnavas together and chant the holy name. It's like the flow of Ganga of the holy names. So many devotees are chanting. My holy name, my chanting of the holy name may not benefit even myself because it's not pure, but there are so many amazing exalted Vaishnavas, and just being in their presence, being in their association definitely purifies the heart. And so it's like congregational appeal for the Lord, for the engagement in His service. And we have so many wonderful opportunities in here in Sridham Mayapur, and it's important that we take full advantage of those opportunities to benefit ourselves. And certainly the more you are benefited, the more you can share those benefits with those who need it. And there are plenty of those people. Hare Krishna. Thank you. So we have a few more minutes for any comments, questions. Microphone. Can someone pass it back to Prabhu?
Hare Krishna. I had a question from the beginning when you were explaining about the sons of Sagar Maharaj, and you said that something like the greater the personality is in relation to anger, because I understood that we get more and more angry, that we generate more and more heat within the body, and from what you explained, it makes sense that that would cause more harm to us physically and mentally. But can you explain about greater the personality and how that connects to what you were trying to illustrate?
How the greatness of the heat is connected to the greatness of the personality? Very simple, that if you are angry with insignificant personality, you can harm that person, because that person is vulnerable and susceptible to the harm. But great personalities, like Bhakti Saraswati in his Upakhyan Upadesh gives the story of a naughty boy who was trying to reach the moon, catch the moon, but the moon, of course, was beyond his reach, and so he became so angry with the moon and he started spitting upwards. And so guess who suffered from those? From this, all the spitting was landing on his own face. And so this is the, great personalities, they just don't care. They are completely transcendental. You can, die out of anger, and they continue being absorbed in their service, right? Like Hiranyakashipu was dying out of anger trying to kill Prahlad, and Prahlad just, was just enjoying himself. And Hiranyakashipu could do nothing. So yes, the greater the person, the less he's susceptible to the harm. Envious people trying to, effect on that person.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Prabhu, can you pass the microphone to the back?
Thank you, Maharaj, for the lecture. Can you explain the significance of putting ashes in Ganges? I think it's not much, it doesn't make much sense to me, because you see, the person has already left the body and it's just the ashes. And I don't want to undermine the glories of Mother Ganges, but I think if we can remember Krishna, that itself is perfect, and there's, no need. Or there is one more pastime of Kulavicha Sridhar. He was worshipping Ganges. So Mahaprabhu told him, it's not required, you directly worship me.
Well, in this pastime we can see that Bhagirath brought the waters of the Ganga to touch the ashes of his forefathers who left their bodies long time ago, but still they got benefit. And so we don't exactly understand how this happened, all these subtle connections, but this is the system. And so we follow the system because this is what the Shastra prescribes. And it works. You know, it's like, of course, Srila Prabhupada was mentioning that 90% of Krishna consciousness is just common sense, but there are 10% still which are inconceivable for our material minds and intelligence, and so we just have to accept these things on faith that it works. So, but you know, it's pretty safe. If 90% works, we can safely conclude that 10% also work, and so if we follow these things, we can see the results. All right? Thank you. Prabhu?
Hare Krishna Maharaj, thank you for the wonderful class. Regarding engaging anger in Krishna's service, do we really have to wait till we get completely purified?
Till we?
Do we really have to wait till we get completely purified? You gave the examples of Hanuman and Arjuna, and the analogy you gave, when we are tied by a rope, we cannot use the same rope, which is true in many situations, but also it's explained that when we have lust and when we use lust in Krishna's service by producing Krishna conscious children, then ultimately we get purified of lust. Of course, every situation doesn't apply to everybody, but still this is an example. And also when you see a Vaishnava being offended, or in certain cases, you could use anger in Krishna's service and it could purify you. Is that a correct perception?
Yeah, if any Vaishnava gets offended, do we have to wait till we're completely free from anger to use anger against the offender? Well, these examples are given, that Hanuman and Arjuna, just to make the point that only great personalities can effectively and properly use anger in Krishna's service, so that we are very careful about it, that it's like razor's edge. If you're not careful, you can harm yourself. And so it's described that if someone's offending a Vaishnava, we should not be passive observers of that, but we should take an action. And so it's described that Shudra should kill himself, Vaishya should walk away, Kshatriya should kill the offender, and Brahmana should preach to the offender and change his mind. And because Srila Prabhupada was very clearly saying that he started ISKCON to train Brahmanas, our approach has to be Brahminical. Our approach has to be, if someone offends a Vaishnava, naturally the reason for those offenses is ignorance. And so if we are powerful preachers, powerful enough, we can explain to the offender that he is harming himself through this process. But if we don't have, enough power or influence, perhaps we could find someone else who could do that. So, because, our motivation has to be compassion. Srila Satchidananda Maharaj very nicely says that compassion is the manifestation of love for Krishna towards others, right? And Vaishnavas are meant to be compassionate towards all, and so towards those who are offended and towards the offenders as well, and try to benefit everyone. And that can be done by helping people to understand how they harm themselves and others by their activities. So that's the Vaishnava approach. But sometimes we can't really, no matter how much we try, we may not be effective. So then what to do? We have to leave it up to Krishna. Srila Prabhupada explains that if someone is persistent offender of the Vaishnavas, such people has to be ignored. And so the, kind of neglect, apeksha, Prabhupada says in Chaitanya Charitamrita, is the best punishment for the offender. Just isolate him from good association, let him feel that he is harming himself. All right? Thank you. We'll stop here. Thank you all very much for your careful listening. And a special thanks to Jananivas and Pankajangri Prabhus, who are such senior devotees, but still they are diligently coming to every Bhagavatam class and humbly sitting and listening, just to showing everyone very wonderful example. Hare Krishna, Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanande.